Thanks for being here this morning. I've been with Surface for about 3 years. Like I was saying, I was just telling them this is kind of like nostalgic for me because my first Surface event I ever worked was here. So that kind of 3 years ago. So that kind of kicked off my educating career. So I was like really excited to come back.
Excuse me.
So I talk kind of fast. One, because we're hairdressers, our attention span sometimes are here. We like to just get to the point, right? We're busy brain and lots of coffee. So let me know if I'm talking too quick, but I do like to pack as much information as I can to make it as valuable as I can. So say just slow down and it gets rolling super quickly. So we're going to start with the Basu line, super classic, right? So the two main ingredients in the entire line of Surface are Basu oil and amaranth protein. So that's in everything. Every shampoo, every conditioner, our color line, all of it. And so our amaranth protein, that's your flexible strength, and that's your natural UV protection. So amaranth protein provides a 350-degree heat protection. So the entire line, every shampoo, every smoothing cream is a heat protectant up to 350.
Really?
So that's a really big deal.
What happens at 351? just check.
So we have our designated sprays or heat protectants that'll go up to 450 for the ones that want that maximum protection, blondes, you know, things like that. But on a general sense, we shouldn't have our heat tools up higher than that. We all do, so we have that for that. But even if they don't want to use some type of spray, they're just using a smoothing cream.
So you're saying Basu oils in every single product?
Yes, every single product. And the reason why, which, so yeah, heat protection up to 350, everything. Basu oil, yes, is in the whole line. The reason why it's different from every other oil on the market is because it's a penetrating oil. It doesn't sit on the outer layer, it penetrates in and gives long-lasting hydration instead of just a top coat of shine. So nothing sits on the outer layer. What it's also able to do, which is why it makes our curls line so awesome in that regard, which we'll talk about, is it can grab onto anything that's with any other ingredients and pull them into the hair strand. So molecular structures that are too big to enter the hair strand, it's able to grab onto them and pull them in so nothing sits on the outer layer. We get all the benefits from all the ingredients, and we can truly say that nothing's heavy, nothing will weigh the hair down, nothing will ever build up. You can put product on day after day because it penetrates in and nothing will continue to build up.
What is Basu oil?
So it comes from the babasu palm tree in Brazil. So it basically comes from like a nut. So they harvest that. And then
Oh, we always think that it came from Africa or something.
no, so it comes from Brazil.
Okay.
We have women there that harvest it for us, and we trade them and plant trees in their villages, which is really cool. So it's something, Surface really, in every aspect, stands behind what they believe in. So at all of our trainings, everything's recycled and everything's sustainably harvested. They donate 10% of all of their proceeds to World Vision. If you guys didn't know that already, so that's a big reason of why they started the company, the family, is so that they could give more back to World Vision. They build wells to create clean water, they donate to the Cancer Society,
Awesome.
They're really involved in community. April is my favorite month because it's Earth Month, so for every Basu oil sold in April, they donate $1 to the Arbor Day Foundation, and it costs $1 to plant a tree. So for every Basu oil sold in April, they plant a tree. We planted 12,000 trees. Our goal, we did 9,000 last year, it was 12,000 this year.
That's awesome.
So
That
super
is
cool,
amazing.
right?
Super cool.
So it's so much more than like shampoo. I'm kind of a hippie. I need like substance in my life, so I couldn't work for something that didn't have that. I need more than just shampoo.
Yeah.
Like a reason to talk about it, a reason to be inspired by it.
Right.
So that's super important to me. So it's totally changed my life. So that's the reason why Basu oil is in everything. We call it the driver. It grabs all the ingredients and takes them where they need to go, while creating long-lasting hydration and color protection. You can also add Basu oil into your color and your lightener. So any other color lightener that you're using, it'll help penetrate better for gray coverage, you know, help it, the spreadability, all of that as well.
How much do you put in?
I do like 2 S shapes. Or you really can't do too much. It's not going to affect processing time or anything like that. So we have our Basu oil and our Basu gold. The difference is also the Basu oil is going to be your best beard oil ever for men because it'll penetrate in and hydrate
I use
the
it.
coarse beard hairs without making your face oily, right? The best tattoo oil ever.
Also
Women
use
can
it.
gold. We call it liquid gold. You can bathe in it.
Yes, I like it a lot.
It's amazing, and it also, one thing also to know too is it melts at body temperature. So almost every product, well, every product has it in it, right? So almost every product really needs to be emulsified and let it get to body temperature so it can melt down and then to apply to the hair. So if at any time you feel like something feels producty or too much, it's always meltable. So if you get too much in an area, you can work your hands through it, melt it down to body temperature, and it'll separate, break up, move, penetrate. So nothing's ever gonna get hard or tacky or anything like that.
So even heat from the dryer should do that then?
Uh-huh, yep. And then Basu Gold. So Basu Gold is a more concentrated version. We don't like to say heavier because that sounds intimidating, right? But a more concentrated version is what we like to say. So for the thick, coarse hair, that's not one you want to put all over the body, right? Because it's a little bit more dense. But for your really thick, coarse, even curly hair, it does great for that. So the carrot extract, that's what you can tell your guests is sometimes they'll get it, it's bright orange, sometimes it's yellow, doesn't affect it at all, it's just how much sun exposure it's gotten while here. Also, the shelf life is 5 years, so that's something to tell your guests as well. We use rose ether for the preservative, so that'll preserve it up to 5 years. Past that, no good, right? Plants doesn't last forever.
So it's not 100% Basu oil in the little oil containers, right?
In this one, yes, and then this one is half Basu oil and half, I want to say argan oil, is what it, let me check on that to be 100% in the gold.
And some carrot.
And some carrot extract, yes. And then we have our shine spray. So our shine spray, so like we said, the Basu oil is meant to penetrate in and give hydration, not sit on the outer layer. This is purposefully meant to stay topical. So that's for your end result, shine, finishing, updos, things like that. It's really shiny, so I sometimes will spray it and like walk into it, right? Or put it on a boar bristle brush and then brush out the hair and finish when you have your curls or whatever for detailing. Good morning. Hi. And then our shampoo conditioner, it's just super classic. A couple things to know is a lot of lines will put a chemical in it to make it emulsify, right? Because that suds is what makes us think it's working. People, well, does it suds up? Because I want to use something that suds. Surface doesn't put anything to make it suds. If it does not suds, that means your hair is too dirty and you have to wash twice. So it's talking to you. It's telling you something. Most of the time nowadays, we all have to wash twice. For product, environmental, we're not washing our hair every day. More like once a week or something.
Yeah.
That's realistic. So you can tell your guests if it's not lathering, keep scrubbing because it's penetrating in and working internally. Rinse that out, add a little more, you'll be able to wash a car with the suds, okay? So lightweight hydration, I would never say it's just a hydration line because if you go to tell that to maybe a really fine-haired guest that needs some hydration, they're going to want to stray away from that because hydration, moisture in the past has been something that can weigh their hair down, make it flat. So I would lightweight hydration, explain this is the difference between Basu oil, penetrates in, all that good stuff. Any questions about Basu? No? Cool?
The new packaging looks great.
Oh, isn't it pretty?
It is.
Yeah.
Are all the shampoos and conditioners going to go to those products?
Eventually.
Eventually.
That's it's going to be a long process, I think. It's going to be slow. So this is their 10-year anniversary this year. So they've never reformulated, repackaged, and so that was kind of a anniversary thing, and I think that's going to kick off a slow kind of reinvention because they redid the logo, so it's not the big tree anymore. It's a cute little circle tree. And the difference now between the two is they've added moringa oil to the Basu and the Trinity. So that provides 30% more color and moisture retention. So not only does it not wash out your color and adds moisture, but it also helps the hair retain the color and the moisture longer. So that's a difference in the reformulation. They smell a little bit different too, and they feel very silky without heavy, which I'm sure you guys have experienced already.
And you said that was in the Basu and the Trinity.
Yep, so then the Trinity, we'll go on to that. So the entire line is 100% color safe because of the amaranth protein and everything, even against vivids. So you don't have to worry about picking one that's just color safe if they need something else. You can pick to their hair type and not their hair color because everything will completely protect. Even against vivids. So a lot of color safe shampoos, even sulfate free shampoos are not protectant against direct dyes. So it has to be specifically protected, which is what we get from the amaranth protein. Now in the case they need extra color protection for the vivids, things like that, the Trinity line is going to be your most concentrated version of the amaranth protein. So that's going to be your most color safe of the entire line. It's also your strengthening line. So amaranth is a flexible protein, so you can never over-keratinize. you can never do too much, so you're not going to get that brittle break after doing too much protein. So that's going to be for your guests that say they can never grow their hair past their shoulders. You know, we have a lot of guests that say I can never grow it past here. It always splits and breaks off, friction from the shoulders, whatever it may be. I've seen guests that have never in their entire lives been able to grow their hair past a certain point, and they've got long, beautiful, healthy hair. It's been awesome. So shampoo and conditioner, self-explanatory. We have our Trinity protein cream and the protein tonic that I gave away at my last class and forgot to get back. So we're all aware of what those are, right? So we have our protein cream. That's going to be your classic detangler. If somebody says, I just need a good leave-in conditioner, I need a good detangler, this is going to be your go-to. And then the Trinity protein tonic, which is a little bit more of that liquidy consistency, that's going to be more for your treatment purposes. So it has a little bit of detangling properties, but that's really to get stuff done. So if they're really trying to grow their hair out and they always get split ends, or if they're going to sit out on the beach and you just did a beautiful chocolate brown or something that's going to get affected by the sun, they can spray that in and go sit on the beach because it has that natural UV protection from the amaranth.
And it's not that one in your hand.
No, it's the red bottle. It's this color. It's not clear. And then it's a very liquidy.
I don't know which one you're talking about.
So that is number one, probably number one, if not number two seller for me. Yep.
Never used it.
Also, for behind the chair, if you guys don't know this, this is going to be a moment. This should be sprayed on every single hair before you color. It evens out the porosity. So it evens out your porosity, makes your color spread farther. If you're doing a tip back, or going darker, or doing vivids over super blonde hair where it can get kind of...
Somebody's behind you.
Oh no! I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I didn't know.
I don't want to knock
I thought
you
that was a
down.
closet or something. I'm trying to lock you in.
Yeah.
You were supposed to yell surprise.
Probably would have. I probably would have.
It's a tonic. So when
Yes.
so let's say, okay, she's sitting in my hair.
Mhm.
I mean, in my chair.
Yep, gotcha.
So, and I'm about to color
Uh-huh.
because time saving. Can you just spray it a little bit so it's a little bit damp?
Yes.
And then do you have to wait
Yep.
for it to dry?
I wouldn't get to super damp, just a good mist is good because we know when we add anything liquid, it breaks down the hydrogen bonds and makes the hair more compromisable, easier, right? So we don't want to get it wet where it's going to break down the hydrogen bonds. Just a light mist.
What is it called?
It's the Trinity Protein Tonic.
Oh, okay.
So you can put it before color, evens out the porosity, and then take home for growing the hair longer, strengthening the hair, color protection, protection sitting on the beach. I always joke, if you can't sell a surface product to somebody for its intended use, you can sell it to them for something else. Like you can use them for anything. So you can use this as a face toner, like a face spray. It's fine with eyelash extensions because I use it every day and it's done totally fine. So you can use it as a face kind of hydrator, UV protection. I'm not going to say don't use sunscreen, right? But it does have the natural UV protection, so you are going to get that extra layer of protection. So more for reconstructing purposes, and then this is going to be your classic detangler. If you back home when you balayage, things like that, it'll be great for that. Cutting lotion, all of that. Our dry shampoo. Who loves our dry shampoo?
It's my favorite.
Yay! And you have dark hair. Do you see any white residue?
Nope.
Nope. Yes. You don't? It must do so well. So, like she said, on her dark hair, it's I have dark hair on. Long hair always everywhere. So you're not gonna see anything, even on the darkest hair, which is super cool. Have you guys all smelt it? Yeah. Okay. So it's made with volcanic ash. So what that does is it's kind of like I don't like to say cigarette ash because that sounds not organic. But it's kind of like that when a cigarette ash hits water, it absorbs and disintegrates, right? So that's exactly what it does. Any type of oil or whatever hits it, it absorbs it and disintegrates. One thing with dry shampoo is it's meant for clean hair. A lot of people don't know that. That's a big like kind of light bulb thing because they pile it on top of day 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. And it's not much you can do at that point. You're piling it on top and then they complain that it feels build-up-y or something like that, but it can't do anything if you're piling it on top. So you want it the first day, it's the second your hair is dry, to apply it so it's prevention. Any second any oil hits it, it absorbs it and disintegrates so you don't see it. You can use it every day after that, but that first day is the most important. And for second use, this can be your natural deodorant. So I am a weird about that because I don't like putting things in this area. Breast cancer runs in my family, you know, whatever. So it has the lemon zest in it. Lemon is antibacterial, antiviral, so it'll kill the bacteria from sweat as well as neutralizing the smell. So for here, in your shoes in the summer when they stink, for men and women, but men especially I've found really like it to keep it in their gym bag because it's a super neutral smell. It's not like a really florally scent, you know, and it also dissipates. So if this smell stays around in something for longer than 2 hours, that means typically that there's an artificial fragrance. So if you have a hair care or something like that where over 2 hours later you can turn your head and get a whiff like of the smell, that typically means there's some type of artificial fragrance. So it smells really good and light and fresh, but it's not going to stay around and be overpowering. And then we have the Trinity Protein One Shot. Comes in a little white tube. I always seem to end up giving those away too. That can be for multiple uses. So that's going to be, aside from the protein tonic, your most concentrated, pure version of the amaranth protein. So we have a couple treatments you can do that on. You can retail it for them to put on their ends and blow dry it in, and that's going to be the maximum strength. That's also going to be your natural, organic, vegan bond builder. So that's going to be your bond builder. That can potentially replace any bond builders that you are currently using in any other lightener or color. It's not going to affect frosting time, gray coverage, anything like that. But it can be added into anything else. So one thing to know too is you can add our additives into anything else. You can't add any other additives into ours. So we do have the color line and the lightener. You can't use any other additives. It doesn't come back this way. It can only go out. Just because the plants and stuff sometimes with chemicals don't do quite as well. And okay, any questions about the Trinity? No? Cool. Okay, so we will move on to, whenever I get to Awaken and Curls, I have to because there's so much information. I'm like, where do I start? Okay, so Awaken is for, as most of you know, one of two things, or multiple things, but generalized is your hair regrowth system and scalp challenges. So it's got the #1 hair growth line for 10 years, and it's been around for 10 years by Allure magazine, so that's kind of cool since the day it came out. It's a drug-free option, so for postpartum, through chemotherapy, through pregnancy, anything like that, you don't have to worry about. It's a completely drug-free option. And then for psoriasis, eczema, dry scalp, oily scalp, it'll balance out either one. So if they have dry up hair, oily, vice versa, it'll completely balance that out. I have seen this change. I don't know why, but I have gotten a lot of guests with really extreme psoriasis and eczema, like cracking and bleeding, and they're miserable. I have one client in particular, she would cry, like it'd be flaking all over and it would bleed, and she has had like the shots in her head and all the creams. Nothing has ever helped. I did the Awaken Scalp facial on her, which is what I did at that event with you guys a couple years ago, and she like started crying, and she was like, "This is better than sex." Because I'm like, I'm using that in every class, thank you very much. Because she had never had relief. Like it was such a huge relief for her, so she just moved to Hawaii because her husband is military, and so she's like, "Are you gonna send me all my Awaken stuff?" And I'm like, "Yes, I will." It's not the first time. I sent a big box of stuff to a client that moved to Germany because she was like, "I've tried every expensive German shampoo and nothing's working like my surface stuff." So I sent her a big box of like liter sizes and everything to last her until she comes back in 3 years. So that's kind of proof of the love for it, you know? Okay, so a little bit of science behind it is the scalp is here, right? The hair is underneath. As we get older, we build up dihydrotestosterone, right? So what happens is the DHT wraps around the hair strand and suffocates it so that when it comes out of the scalp, it appears thinner. Hair never really actually thins. It's actually being suffocated underneath the scalp. So what we're able to do is penetrate in with the basu oil, stimulate with cayenne pepper, cool back down with peppermint oil, and remove the DHT with saw palmetto. So it's super simple. Well, it doesn't sound simple, but I'm like, all that and it's really simple. You got it? But the most important thing to know is cayenne pepper stimulates, peppermint oil calms back down, because that's where they'll get the cooling and heat. Some will feel cool, some will feel hot, depending on senses, right? And then the most important is we replace the minoxidil with saw palmetto. So that's minoxidil is a harsh chemical that most hair growth lines use. It does work in regrowing the hair, but long-term effects can be really harsh. If you stop using it, you can have after effects, and then also it's something to worry about when somebody, for example, is going through chemo or something like that. So saw palmetto is just a palm tree we found that it can react the same way and remove that without causing any long-term damage or any side effects or anything like that.
Good to know.
So that's kind of cool. So I'm going to do a quick overview of kind of how to use it, just in case there's any type of questions there. The results cap. Good morning. Good morning. The results cap at 2 years. So that's one thing to know. Is after 2 years, you can maintain where you're at, but that's as far as you're going to get. It's not going to make your hair thicker than it ever was. It's going to make it as thick as it once was. So hair density peaks between 16 and 22. After that, it's not going to all thin immediately, but it's not going to get any thicker after that point. So for example, I have a client with super thick curly hair, but she has psoriasis on her scalp. She was like, I don't want my hair any thicker, I don't want to use that. I'm like, it's not going to make your hair thicker than it ever was, so it'll eliminate the scalp challenges without, she thought she was going to wake up and be Medusa. And I'm like, it doesn't quite work that way. So you can use it kind of for both things. So shampoo and conditioner have to be used together. So the rest of the line, you can kind of curl shampoo, Trinity conditioner, depending on their needs. Awaken shampoo and conditioner have to be used together. The reason is the shampoo leaves behind oils purposefully, and the conditioner finishes the cleansing process. So if you use the shampoo alone, it will feel oily. I've seen in the past where, like male clients, they don't want to use a bunch of steps, so they're like, oh, I'll just get the shampoo. So you can assure them or tell them, if you just want shampoo, this isn't the best line for you because you do have to use them together. This is why. Shampoo, conditioner, and treatment drops are essential starting point for any type of hair loss, eczema, psoriasis. If it's just seasonal dry scalp, like in the wintertime, so I'll ask them, does this just happen in the winter or is it all year round? If it's just in the winter, that's just a little bit of dry scalp, the shampoo and conditioner will be just fine. That will help alleviate that dry scalp during the winter. If it's all year round or anything even remotely more extreme than that, they need the shampoo, conditioner, and treatment drops. Treatment drops twice a day. Even if they're only shampooing and conditioning once every 4 days, still treatment drops twice a day. And you can tell them because the bassoot oil is going to penetrate in and work underneath. Nothing's going to sit on the outer layer, so it's not going to get product-y or build up on the scalp from putting it in twice a day. Everything does have to be massaged. It does take a little extra time. So some clients are like, well, I don't want to do that. I'm like, well, do you want your hair back or not? And I know my clients, so I know if that's somebody who goes to the gym all the time. I'm like, what would happen if you didn't go to the gym all the time? You wouldn't maintain the body that you want, that you have. So it takes work. Gotta put some work in. If it's important to them, they'll do it. If not, they won't. So you can kind of determine what that situation is. So shampoo, conditioner, treatment drops, and the scalp elixir. So this is a newer product that we came out with. This is basically the booster for the whole system. So it's a pre-shampoo and pre-treatment spray. So anytime you're going to shampoo, get in the shower, spray it on your scalp, not just on your hair. It has to hit your scalp. That's another thing too with the conditioner. We're told, don't get conditioner at your scalp. That conditioner has to get at your scalp because it's targeting scalp issues for one. And if it doesn't hit the scalp, it's not going to cleanse and remove the oil that it's supposed to from the shampoo. So it will feel oily up top if you don't make sure to really massage it. So pre-shampoo and pre-treatment. It opens up the follicle, allows the whole system to work a minimum of 30% quicker and deeper and faster. It actually allows it to work down into the hair bulb, which I don't believe has quite in that way been done before. So it catches it immediately. Also, it strengthens the new emerging hair immediately because it has the amaranth protein in it. So that's important because if the hair's growing but it's thin and brittle, it needs some type of strength, right? So the amaranth protein is strengthening that the second that it's coming out. Also, a little hot tip on this. This is not in a handbook. This is just something we've found from using it, is postpartum, right? Just had a baby, you lose hairs around the hairline, so you have all these little baby hairs, right? They're not balding. They don't need a whole hair regrowth line. But we have found if they use this and just spray it on the hairline, it'll speed up the process of those baby hairs growing. So just as kind of a fun, they don't need the whole line. They don't want it to thicken. They just need those hairs to grow back. So since
or if they're not dealing with any other scalp issues or anything like that.
Yes, they can just, I know you just, because they'll complain about it. These baby hairs are taking forever, and okay, we have a solution for you. It comes in our awaken line. You don't need the whole thing. This is just like a little booster to help speed up that process.
Cool.
So that's a kind of cool hot tip for that. And also to introduce somebody to it, kind of dip the toe in the water, and then they'll probably love it, and they may want the rest of it anyway, just because it feels so good. They don't even have to have scalp challenges. Awaken is great for everything. Also in North America, hair slows down in growth from October to March by 30%. So that's why we say, oh, my hair grows so fast in the summertime. It actually slows down in the wintertime. So everybody should be using Awaken through the winter. 1 for the dry scalp, and 2 because it keeps it growing as quick as it does in the summer as it does in the winter.
Do you know
Or
why that
vice
is? Why it grows?
I don't know in North America. I've talked to a lot of people about that and nobody can seem to figure it out. But my guests know that in the summertime, they have to come in a week early for their like root touch-up, say, you know, to cover gray or whatever. And then in the wintertime, we can usually go push it out a week longer. So I kind of have that on the schedule. So at like March, April, I'm like, okay, now we're gonna have to push your appointment a little bit, like a week sooner. And then the winter, stretch it out a little bit. So Awaken mask. This is not a hydrating, I mean it's not drying, but it's not a hydrating mask for your ends. This is a exfoliating mask for the scalp. So it doesn't even have to hit the ends at all. It can, you can pull it through just out of habit, but it's not gonna do a whole lot. It's meant to get off, build up dead skin cells, unclog pores, all of that. So that's what we did in the Awaken Scalp facial treatment that we had done here. You shampoo, massage this in the scalp, do the treatment drop. So you kind of do like what they do at home, but it's kind of an introduction for them to smell and feel and hopefully lead into the take home with that. So exfoliating mask. They never have to use the conditioner and this together. So once a week they can replace this with the conditioner, or once every few days. If they have really bad psoriasis, like my one guest, she can use this every time instead for conditioner. On the chance that it's not hydrating enough for their ends, if they have really long hair, maybe it's compromised, whatever, have them put the Awaken conditioner mask at their scalp, and then like Basu conditioner on their hands. That's what my boyfriend's doing. He's growing his hair out for the first time, and it's like here, but he feels like he's thinning, so he's using this, but his hair is super curly, so he needs like moisture. So I have him putting the conditioner on his scalp, and then the Basu conditioner on his ends.
How long do you leave that style?
Well,
Just leave it in, right?
So no, this one you do rinse out. Yep, so you massage it in, I would say a minute. When you do the treatment, they say 10 minutes, but that's only to give the guest the luxury experience of feeling it and time to feel it and all of that. So we have our treatment part of the line, and then we have just our stylers, okay? So that's gonna be your instant gratification thickening for fine hair. So that can be somebody who is in the process of waiting for their hair to grow back and thicken, or maybe they don't care about that, they just want instant gratification now and they don't care about, you know, regrowing. So we have 4. We have the Awaken Mist, the thickening cream, our protein mousse, and our protein styling spray. So all 4 have the botanical fibers that wrap around and start to thicken immediately. So this is going to be your leave-in conditioner, detangler, all of that for your really, really fine hair guests. So this starts instantly wrapping around and thickening. So that will be for everybody else that's not using the Trinity protein cream. So for the super, super fine hair guests. And then we have our thickening cream. This is gonna be your primer. This doesn't have any hold. It doesn't have like muscle memory. People are like, well, it doesn't have any hold. It's not meant to. This is just your primer thickener. So you don't wanna give fine hair height before you give it width, because then it will just look more see-through. You wanna thicken it and then give it height, right? So this will be roots to ends. It's important that it gets at the roots, even though fine hair guests are used to wanting to shy away from the roots. They need it at the roots, because that's where they want it to wrap around and thicken, so then they can give it height. So roots to ends, no hold, primer. Then we have our protein mousse. This is going to be also roots to ends, and that's what's going to give the body hold. It's strengthening so that when you're pulling at it with a round brush or something, it's not getting compromised. And then I also like to point out that it says firm hold. That will scare fine hair guests. So I like to tell them it's firm hold for fine hair, right? It's as much firm as fine hair needs. It's not just firm hold in a general sense. And the whole line pretty much smells minty. Besides this, it's grapefruit, so it smells super like nice and light and fruity. It smells really nice. And then the protein spray. So this is just going to be your super lightweight, movable, workable spray for fine hair. Also says firm hold for fine hair. Dominoes. Okay, so any questions on Awaken about how it works or how to use it or anything like that? Because I know it's a super, I could talk all day about that, but I just want to make sure everybody feels
Do you guys have
confident
some
in it.
good product booklets for?
We do. Actually, we just came out with a brand new booklet of literature for Awaken. If I don't have one, I will contact Chelsea and have her get you guys one.
The whole line.
Do you have one for the whole line?
We do have one for the whole line as well.
Okay.
So we can get one of those as well. The Awaken one, since it's the most complex,
Yes.
it's so thorough. I mean, it has before and after pictures in it, the science behind it, how to use it at home, like all of it. It's awesome.
It'd be good.
So if I don't have one of those, I will write that down and get them for you guys.
Any digital for social media?
Actually, probably yes. Yes. I'll look on that. Okay, so our curls line. I know you guys have a good curls line that you love. I'll touch on it anyway just because it is a part of, do you guys carry any of the curls line at all?
Yes.
Oh, you do? Okay,
Yeah.
so it does have its place. Okay, so the point of the curls line obviously is hydrating like the Basu, but the point of our curls line is really to soften coarse texture. So it really addresses the needs for curly hair. So it's never going to be heavy because of the Basu oil. So we do use cocoa butter, right? Every curly line in the world, I feel like, uses cocoa butter. It's a very common ingredient. It smells very good, but that's why most curly products are very heavy. They weigh the hair down, they feel kind of oily because the molecular structure of cocoa butter is too big to enter the hair strand. So now what we've been able to do is with the Basu oil, it's able to grab onto the cocoa butter and pull it into the hair strand, and we get all the benefits. The moisture and hydration, but most importantly, the vitamin K. So vitamin K is where curls get all of their elasticity. So that's what allows them to spring back up to where they should. So most people, after they use the curls line, they say, my hair is curlier than it's ever been, or it's as curly as it used to be before it got compromised from coloring and flat ironing, environmental, whatever the case is. So it replenishes all of the natural vitamin K that it needs and allows it to spring back up to where it should without weighing it down. So that's kind of the point of the curls line, is to soften coarse texture and allow it to spring back up to where it should naturally. And then also too, when I go into a lot of salons, a lot of people will say, we don't have a lot of curly guests, or we don't do a lot of curly hair. 75% statistically of people fall into the curly category. So raise your hand if when your hair dries naturally, it has any bend in it whatsoever. So that would stand 75%, right? So any bend at all falls into, you don't have curly hair?
Used to.
Do you? You have natural wave in your hair?
I do.
Yeah?
This is flat iron
Nice.
this morning.
Cool. So that kind of stands so you can explain to your guests, if they have any bend whatsoever, they fall in the curly category. So that can go for all different hair types that maybe they wouldn't think that they have curly hair. They do, any bend at all. Aside from that would be just super straight, right? Aside from that, any type of bend, you fall into the curls category.
Dawn, will you turn the air off?
Yeah,
It's
it's
freezing.
Getting a little chilly now?
Yeah, it's like coming out
right
this
here.
right here.
Oh, you're right under it, huh? Like, feeling it.
Give it
Yes,
half
it's
an
on
hour and
the-
everybody will be
It's
saying,
very,
"It's
I
hot."
know, the second I start working, everybody's gonna be like, it's so hot. Okay, so shampoo, conditioner, we have two mousses, okay? There's been a big kind of misconception on these in the past. There's the curl whip mousse and the firm mousse. The curl whip mousse is just your leave-in conditioner for curly hair. There's no hold in it whatsoever. It says natural hold, and the reason why it says that is because it has all, you know, the vitamin K and stuff to help it spring back to where it should. So natural hold, right? But no additional hold. So when you come back from the chair, before you comb out curly hair, you can scrunch that in and let it soften it and use that as your detangler. Or at home, if they just want a little bit of control, they can just use that if they don't want a real firm hold. So leave-in conditioner for curly hair. Then the firm is obviously going to be your firm hold. It doesn't have any plastics or anything in it, so you're not going to get the crunch. It's just going to be that nice firm hold. Then we have our finishing spray. This is an internal hairspray. So with the Basu oil, it penetrates in and holds the style from the inside, but you don't feel anything on the outside. It also has the defining fibers in it, so it keeps things separated. So if they have natural curly hair and they want to spray something to give it a little bit more hold, it's not going to all move like this. It will stay nice and separated and kind of PC tousled, right? And then this is also going to be one of your heat protectants to 450. So this is going to be your heat protectant for flat ironing. So it does awesome. It adds a lot of shine, but not too much. It does really, really well.
So you'd spray that on even though it's a hairspray?
Yep.
And then flat iron on top of it?
Yep.
Okay.
Give it a try. I also actually just learned recently that you can spray this on wet hair. I didn't know that. You can spray it on wet on the curly hair to help already penetrate in and kind of hold that shape for when it air dries. So it's kind of cool too. I just learned that last week. I was like teaching a curly haired class and I was like going over the PowerPoint and I saw, can be put on wet or dry, and I was like, what? I didn't know that. So curl smoothing cream. So this is probably one of my like #1 sellers ever, if not my #1 seller. So what this is meant to do is collapse the cuticle down, cut your drying time by 50%, and make it extremely easy to smooth out. I can get kinky curly hair flat as a board with this in a round brush. Easy. And so can they at home. It makes it extremely easy. It collapses everything down. So then leaving it and letting it air dry, right? So it'll collapse that cuticle down, but still allow the curl to form. So it'll just keep it from going out as it dries. Which that's probably the biggest common denominator in challenges with curly hair, is it just gets bigger as it dries, right? That's what mine does. Like when it's like half dry, I'm like, oh, there's a nice curl. And then all of a sudden it goes from like 95% dry to 100% dry, and I like go like this instantly. I'm like, what the heck? So this, I always put this in my hair no matter what I'm gonna do. Flat iron, curl it, whatever. This can be everybody besides your super fine haired guests. Then we have the Bliss smoothie. So I'll go over that really quick to compare them. We only have 2 smoothing creams in the whole line, Bliss and Curls. Bliss is going to be your body smoothing cream, so it will control frizz but still allow there to be fullness in body. So somebody who has fine hair that it gets frizzy or whatever, this is going to be their go-to. Everybody else that wants a smooth sleek, doesn't want this, is going to be your curl smoothing cream. And then we have, oh, not the curl serum. What the heck, man? I need to do a revamp.
And
So
does this smoothing heat protectant in too?
yes, yep, has the amaranth, so it's going to be up to 350.
I think we have a curl serum on the shelf.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see it. Yep. Awesome. Thank you. So, curl serum. This is probably one of the most innovative products I've ever seen, especially with curly hair. So, every line has a curl serum, right? Aside from being super hydrating, very, moisturizing, gives a lot of good shine. At the bend of every curl, there's a stress point, right? At the bend, there's a stress point. It starts to split and break. That's where moisture is lost, and that's where color is lost. That's why more frizz is created, all of that. This is actually meant to fill the voids in the bends of the curly hair to allow it to retain color and moisture longer. So it's like doing stuff in there. It's not like just pretty, it's like getting things done up in there, okay? So it's meant to fill those voids in the bends of the curly hair to allow it to retain color and moisture longer. You can also flat iron over it, does beautiful like silk press for super curly hair, does awesome for that too. But that's probably, or is the purpose of it, is to really get in there and kind of seal those bends to where it'll retain the color and moisture longer. And I won't forget that's yours because there's a little tag on it. Then we have our Curls cream wax. This also just recently came out. It starts as a cream, right, white. At that point you can put it in wet, or what it's actually intended for is a second day curls product. So it starts white, you rub, melt it down with the bassout oil, and it turns clear. At that point it's a wax, and you can reform those curls day 2. Most people that have done something like this have taken it from a wax to a cream, so it looks like a cream but it feels waxy, and that's where kind of some challenges have been. They did it the opposite way, did it a cream to a wax, so it looks like a wax but it feels like a cream, so it's not going to be sticky and tacky. And then our new product, this comes out June 1st is what they said, but I think it's already out. So this is a Curls Frizz-Free Spray Gel. So I know spray gels have been kind of a bigger thing in the past. I haven't really seen a lot of them in the near time, right? So most of the time you only can put them on wet. This one you can actually put on dry. So what it does is it takes like sugar cane fibers, wraps around the hair strand, and seals the cuticle back to the cortex, right? So a lot of products to the naked eye would seem like it's solving the problem of that frizz because it looks like it has, makes it really shiny, but it's actually just weighing that cuticle down, not actually sealing it back to the cortex. So the problem's never going to be solved. They're going to wash it, it's going to come back and do the same thing. This actually seals the cuticle back down to the cortex and eliminates the frizz like instantly. It's awesome. You can put it in wet if you want and smooth it and it'll seal those, or you can put it in dry and let it air dry curly, or you can put it on dry curly hair where there's frizz and kind of just scrunch it in. And it's that super light kind of mist like the elixir. So it's not going to be your typical gel. I've had someone say, well, it doesn't really have like hold like a gel. It's not really meant to feel like the hold. It's just sealing everything back down. It's awesome. So I would get in and try it if you guys get the chance. So that's the frizz-free spray gel. A little bit of a mouthful. That also heat protected at 350 because it has the AMRAP. Okay, any questions? Oh, the mask. So this is going to be not like the Awaken, right? That's for the scalp. This is really meant for roots to ends. You can leave this in and bake it in. We have a treatment called the Curls Moisture Bake. You wash it with curls, apply the whip mousse, the mask, and now that we have the curl serum, and you just bake it in until it's 100% dry. So the point of that is to really penetrate in, give all the moisture, hydration, instant gratification for them, but also the vitamin K. So they'll actually visibly see their hair kind of spring back up to where it naturally should to lead into take home. So we have services like that for pretty much every line, and it's really to kind of assist you in an easy way to introduce things to your guests. To step, there's a million salons from here to everywhere, right? How are we stepping it up and being kind of different from everybody else, right? So they will trust you because you've done something awesome. They'll come back and be like, what's that thing you did? I want that again, right? So, so they can put this in, leave it in. They can use it once a week and rinse it out. Either way, when they come in, you bake it till 100% dry, and that's so they can actually visibly see before they leave what it does. Now at home, they can really just leave it in and diffuse it a little bit and go. But the really point is to kind of really get them to see it and feel it before they walk out the door.
Would you define bake?
What'd you say?
You said bake it in. Define bake.
So just diffuse it in before. So we call it the curls bake. So you just bake it in. So diffuse it till it's 100% dry, or put them under the dryer until it's 100% dry. Sometimes it can take a while. Curly hair's thick. Takes a while to dry, especially when you put some product in it. So pop them under the dryer, do a haircut, or whatever to kind of maneuver that to get it to work out.
Wasn't sure if there was an infomercial bake oven.
No.
That could be the next question.
We have an oven. You said an easy bake oven. Okay, so any questions on the curly line?
It's one of my favorites.
Cool. Yay! And the smell is lovely, but not too much, right? Not like too much like cake, but enough like cake that it's good. Okay, so our specialty line. So everything obviously is in these types of bottles. These types of bottles or tubes is kind of our specialty lines, right? So we have our char, our violet, and our rose. I'm going to start with, I guess, char, because I know you guys wanted to hear about that. So our char is our activated charcoal line. We use our activated charcoal, or we make it out of coconut shells, which is cool. So that's already kind of a little bit different than other brands. But what is something that charcoal can do that's not very good?
Dry out.
Yes, dry it out. So it can be very drying. So 1 square inch of charcoal can absorb 100,000 times its molecular weight. So 1 square inch can absorb a football field of molecular weight, which means it's sucking everything out. Not only the bad, but also the good. That's why a lot of the skincare products, the masks, things like that, can be almost more damaging because it's pulling everything out and not replenishing anything, right? So it can be very drying. What we've been able to do is be able to detoxify, eliminate all of the natural sebum and heavy oils that the hair naturally creates, and we replace it with lightweight oils, which is Basu. Yes, it always resorts back to Basu. That's like the foundation of the entire line. So that's what we're able to do. We're able to go and detoxify, cleanse. We add seaweed fibers for a little bit of texture, and then replenish all of the natural moisture. So it's basically the cleanest your hair will ever be. It'll feel lightweight, airy, feathery. I've gotten, but still be able to have like body texture hold, and it's good for every hair type. Curly, fine, thick. Everything. It's awesome. I use it in my shower. Well, I have like olive in my shower that I alternate between, but I've been mostly using char since it came out because it's just been awesome.
It's popular around here too.
Yes. Yay. Good. It is a lot of places. And so a lot of people are seeing charcoal. So those are kind of a couple tips that you can explain to them of why or how it's a little bit different than something they may see at the store. Because nowadays we do battle that sometimes. So it's up to us to educate them about it. Also, too, little side note, for every ingredient, there's a chemical-based version and a plant-based version, right? So legally, there's a lot of legal stuff around this. We have to put some type of word in the bottle that sounds like a chemical. So, for example, in our hairsprays, you will say butane on the back of the bottle. Legally, we have to put that because something is being propelled out of a can. What we do is we ferment vegetables. We get the gases from the fermented vegetables, and that's what we use to propel it out of the can. So it should say fermented vegetable gases, and legally, in America, it has to say butane. So it's very confusing. It's up to you to educate your guests because you will get that question for people who, you know, when you're saying, oh, it's all organic, natural lime, they're going to be like, oh yeah, it says butane, it says alcohol, it says this and that, so you can assure them, we just had a class, you know, whatever the case may be. For every ingredient, there's a plant-based version, chemical-based. You typically have to put a chemical-based name on the back. So, for example, you will see fragrance. Unless it's like Lubriderm unscented lotion, if it smells like anything at all, if it's rocks, it doesn't matter. It has to say fragrance. So there's no fragrance in it. There's no artificial fragrance. Legally, it has to say that. Also, the reason why it doesn't say certified organic on the bottle is because our restrictions on that in America are not very good. In America, everything has to have one ingredient in it to be organic. Do you guys know what that ingredient is? Water. In America, food, produce, stuff, everything you get for it to say organic, it has to have water. Garnier Fructis, freaking whatever the other ones are, can all say organic on the bottle in America. So since we're launching in other countries, Europe being the main one, in Europe the restrictions for completely organic are every single ingredient had to have been living at some point. Since we find a lot of good benefits from a lot of minerals and things, rocks and stuff like that, we found that have benefit for the hair. That was not living at one point, so we cannot call it certified organic in Europe. That's why it doesn't say it on the bottle. Because we're much bigger than here now. So just a few little things.
On the char, is the like the coconut fibers, are they burned then?
Yeah, so they're charred, so they're cooked down until they burned and then turned into charcoal and then created that way. So we have shampoo, conditioner, then we have our shaving cream, skin relief cream, and cleanser. The cleanser I've been using long before it even came out. I'm a ginger, clearly. I have super sensitive skin. It's done awesome. It helps with redness, breakout, super detoxifying, but then is able to replenish all the moisture so it's not damaging for the skin. The skin relief cream, that is going to be your lifesaver. Everybody's really. So it penetrates in and gives long-lasting hydration, right? So even with your hands in the water all day as hairdressers or any other profession, you don't have to keep applying it all day long. So this is one of the higher priced products, and it's a smaller tube because it's really meant for designated areas. So Awaken will help with psoriasis and eczema on the scalp. This will help with psoriasis and eczema on other areas of the body. So this is like a spot treatment for either really dry areas, if you get dry cracked hands, which mine do in the winter, they bleed, literally. This was a lifesaver for me since it came out. Psoriasis, eczema on babies that get it on their face, stomach, you know, bum bums, all those things. Really?
Yeah.
So, yes. So it's a spot treatment. So you can explain to them, it's not a body lotion. You're not going to lather all over it. It's little tiny, goes a long way. It's very, very thick, but the basut oil melts at body temperature. Once you melt it down, it does fine. I actually put it on my face, which a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, it's so thick. I really melt it down before and get it very thin, and then I rub it on my face, and it does awesome. The shaving cream, super fun. So what that does is it activates, just love saying this, the erectopili muscle, and it makes the goosebump muscle, right? So it makes the hair stand straight up, so you get a way closer shave, so you don't have to shave nearly as often. It's fantastic. I hate shaving. I don't even like to say that word, but I can't stand it. So I don't have to shave nearly as much. And then I don't feel like a prune when I get a shower either because it's replenishing all the moisture back with the basut oil. So I don't even have to put lotion on my legs or arms or for women, or men actually, other areas of your body that you may shave. It's good for all of that because it's completely safe. It's not, you don't have to worry about it being any type of harmful, which is great. Now we have our stylers. We have our blow dry paste, which is the only one I have, and then the gel mousse and the finishing spray. So the gel mousse, so the point of the char stylers is lightweight, clean, volume. So very clean and volume. So even the finest of hair can use them. The gel mousse has the body hold texture of a gel and really light and airy like a mousse. It's awesome. If you guys
love it.
Okay, yay, loving it already.
Love it.
The finishing spray is going to be one of your heat protectants up to 450 as well. And
So
it's
you could put it on dry hair and flat iron
Yes.
and all that stuff. Like
Yep.
the,
It's like the pearls finishing spray. Yep. And then, isn't it awesome? Oh, it's my favorite. So that is going to be light. It says finishing spray. I thought before it came out, because they told us about it before it was going to come out, that it was going to say like dry texture spray, because it's meant to sit like in between a texture spray and a hairspray. So it has really good texture, but then hold, but it's like really lightweight and movable. It's awesome too. Short hair, long hair, I've been loving it on anything. I put my hair up in a messy bun yesterday, I think, and just sprayed a bunch of that in it and kind of scrunched it. It was all PC and awesome. It looked really cool and fun. And the blow dry paste. So this actually doubles the diameter of the hair. So it goes in, wraps around the seaweed fibers, wrap around the hair strand, and double the diameter as well as add texture. So you can use it as a spot treatment on somebody who's really thin in a certain area. Great.
So that product is awesome. The only thing that sucks about it is squeezing it out.
Yep.
It gets
So
really
it doesn't come out here. We've found out now that we've been using it. Just take the lid off. So just take the lid off and scoop a little bit out. So we found that this lid will probably change. So really quick on our toning line, the reason why ours is different from everybody else's is because a lot of lines use direct dyes, which can be very drying and very dulling. We don't use direct dyes. We use the Maquis Berry in our Violet shampoo and conditioner, which has the most antioxidants of any food known to mankind. So it fills the hair with antioxidants, moisture, hydration, the most tone you'll ever get, as well as brightening. It does not go back down. Shampoo is a little more purple based, conditioner is blue based, so between the two you cross out all warmth. Our violet toning hairspray, we're the first ones ever to do an organically based violet toning hairspray. This is also going to be your heat protected to 450 for blondes. Leave-in toning spray, detangler, violet, awesome. We use rose hip oil in our rose line, so no direct dyes, it's just roses. The lighter the blonde, the more pink it will be. The darker the blonde, the more warm it will be. And then, I'm like, I'm gonna pick, so purified shampoo, because I feel like this is a really important one. This is 100% color safe. It has target specific chelators that are only meant to attach to things that the hair doesn't want, such as mineral buildup, chlorine, iron, medication buildup, specifically thyroid medication. This is a big one. Thyroid medication is one of the, I don't want to say worst because that sounds like negative, but for the hair it is. It comes out and it wraps around the hair strand and you can have chemical reactions, things like that. That'll give you the most clean slate you can have. And 100% color safe, even against Vivids, which is never heard of a clarifying shampoo that's color safe. So that's awesome.
In the blue.
And I think we'll probably,
That's one of my favorite detoxifying.
you can also use it as a body wash.
Good.
You can use it as a body wash because for the people who have hard water, like mineral buildup, that's going down your body and you're getting mineral deposit in your skin. That will take that out of your skin as well. But it's such a light cleanse that it's not going to make you a prune or do any type of damage. So that's kind of cool too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I think if you guys have any questions about any of the stylers, I'll be here for a couple minutes while I'm putting them away. I didn't really get to touch on those. Do you guys have any questions on any?
I
particular
do
one real
for
quick?
will you just talk briefly about, because we talked about the other hairsprays,
Yes.
but the blue hairspray,
Yep.
maybe the jump,
Okay.
just a couple of those, because I find myself always going back to the curl stuff, or I use a lot of the awaken also,
I do too.
but will you just talk about those?
Yep, so we have Theory Firm. They're just your classic hairsprays. So for somebody that just wants a classic hairspray that doesn't have any other stipulations, like I have really fine hair or I have curly hair, I don't want it to feel like this or like this or like this, that's just your classic, regular and firm hairspray. It's just the easiest way to put it. Now jump.
I always think of that as the volumizing line, but I guess it's, or maybe before the char came out.
Just
that is
classic
volumizing line.
styling for everybody. So it's a very general sense. If they don't have any specific needs, they're just like, I really need a new hairspray, that's where you're gonna go.
Okay.
So the jump mousse is gonna be your most root lifting mousse. All the rest of the mousses can go roots to ends. This is just roots, has a nice little applicator. It has a sugar and a starch in it that don't like each other. Yes, I know sugar and starch are each other, but they're different versions of each other. They don't like each other, so the second they come out of the can, they repel each other like magnets. So the second it hits your hair, you will get lift on wet hair, which is why it's called jump. Airlift, a nice light texturizing root lifting powder that defies gravity for fine hair. So you're not going to get that super gritty like our push powder is meant to be gritty for backcombing and thick hair, things like
That's
that.
funny, it actually went up in the air instead of falling.
Yeah,
When you
It's
sprayed
supposed
it,
to.
it actually went up in the air.
so that's what it does in the hair. Air
Interesting.
lifts the air.
My favorite movie, Up.
Oh, I never actually saw that movie.
You haven't seen it?
No, I heard it's so cute
It is
though.
the ADD among us. There's a perfect
That
scene
sounds
in
great.
movie.
That sounds like a movie for hairdressers.
It is.
And then the shampoo body wash for men. Head to toe, it's specially formulated for the amount of exfoliation men need because it is different than women. It has bamboo in it, smells really good. Hair, face, body, super simple for just your man that wants to in and out, quicker, simple. They use Head and Shoulders or
What about
bar
for
soap or
beards?
something. You can use it on beards. Yep. So for just simple man in and out, that's gonna be your go-to. Now, if they have curly hair, Awaken, they want something more extravagant. You have stuff, but that's a really easy. Or for women, I have a lot of clients that buy it for their husbands, like almost out of guilt that they're like buying so much stuff for themselves.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, maybe you should get this for your husband, and they're like, oh, that's a great idea. Here,
Father's Day is
honey,
coming up.
I got this for you, and I got all this stuff for me. So, thank you for having me. Thank you for spending your morning with me.
Good job.
Just kidding. I'll be back around again, I'm sure. I'm probably the one that'll do any forward education from this point, or I don't know if you guys have any type of events or